the sport's come a long way in the 23 years just last week, where we saw Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez, your buddy Tyron Woodley, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Real quickly, how did you score the Wonderboy Woodley fight?
Well, you know what? Like, I think that fight comes down to the third round. Obviously, I thought Tyron won the first round pretty convincingly. The fourth round, he won extremely convincingly. In fact, it was, if not a 10-8, it could have been a 10-7 because he knocked him down 3 times and had him in 2 submissions that could have ended the fight. So, like, it doesn't really get much more dominant than that. Wonderboy won the fifth and the second round. So I think it comes down to the third round. I actually, at the time in the fight, I actually thought Tyron won that round based on just damage. He didn't do a good enough job of cage control, but just damage alone, I thought he did enough to win that third round.
So you had him winning the fight.
I had him winning the fight. It would have been 48-47, yeah.
The main event, Conor, 2-time champ, he's taking the sport to a different level. What are your thoughts on what he's been able to do in MMA?
Well, I like Conor. I've been following Conor since he was in Cage Warriors in England, and I've always thought he was extremely talented. He's got his reflexes and his instincts, and his accuracy is better than anybody is in the game right now. The fact that he can talk what he talks and back it up, and he has a whole country to support him, he is, he's a one of a kind type fighter. There are some dangerous matchups for him, but as long as he doesn't fight those dangerous matchups and he fights tough guys that match up well against his skill set, he's going to look like a rock star. And even if he fights the tougher guys that he doesn't match up well, he'll still look pretty good. So Conor's a good fighter, and my hat goes off to him.
He said in the last press conference that he's going to take some time off with the baby, but he wants equity with the UFC. I'm predicting that he's going to want $40 million range, whether he gets the equity or not, which no MMA fighter has ever hit. I don't think past 15 million with pay-per-views per fight. But that's the money I think he could garner. That kind of makes sense, that $40 million mark. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, at this point right now, after what he did against Eddie Alvarez and what he's done leading up to that, and what I've seen him do, like, he's changed the game not only for himself, but he's changed it for a lot of fighters. He made a lot of fighters a lot of money. I feel as though if Conor says, hey, I want $40 million equity in the company, you got to give it to him. Because if he leaves, then what happens? I think the damage is a lot worse than just giving him what he wants in that $40 million, if that's what he wants.
Let's talk about Ronda Rousey. She's coming back in December, the last event of the year. She said this might be one of her last few fights. As a fighter, did you know when your career was winding down? And what are your thoughts that she's already came out and said that she thinks this might be one of her last few fights?
I had a career that lasted, almost 15 years, a professional career that lasted 15 years. I've been knocked around. I've been knocked out. And for her to take this loss the way she did is very disappointing because prior to the loss, she was, she had her own phrase, the DNB phrase, and she was, a hammer, and she was doing everything right. But as soon as she gets knocked out, as many fighters do, she wanted to kill herself. And I was very disappointed in her behavior and the way she conducted herself. To me, she's not a fighter. I feel as though she's not good for the sport in that aspect. She's good for the sport in the aspect that she's bringing attention and people are watching to watch her fight. But as far as a fighter goes, I would never tell any fighter to look at her as a role model.